Good.
All right. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Hold on. Okay. I've just unmuted everybody. I'm going to put the mute back on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Can hear you.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, good. Good. So I'm going to put everybody back on mute. All right. Kept me. All right. And I know there's going to be people joining as we get going here. First of all, let me say I am your professor for the day, Zoom training. My name is Michael Taylor, and I teach in business intelligence. And I am the instructor for section 4. So hopefully some of my students are on here. I hope everybody's doing well and, coping as best as you can. It's not easy for all of us. Okay, so let's just get right to it so that I don't take up any more of your time. I know there's probably other things that you'd rather be doing around the house. So today's Mastery Zoom training, and I'm the instructor again. And today we're going to be talking about social intelligence. And hold on one second here. Let me, why is it doing that? Okay. All right. So I hope everybody can see me clearly. There should be some Alabama Crimson Tide background there for you. So roll Tide. No, I'm not from Alabama. Okay, so let's get started here. Social distancing. What is social distancing? So success attained without this intelligence is not true mastery and will not last. So social intelligence, for many of us, it's what we do every day. It's what we did in elementary, middle, high school, college, graduate school, for some of you now, or all of you now. Social intelligence is that's the ability to see people in their most realistic light possible. It's just the stuff that when we join a new company or enter a new either a fraternity or group or sports club, whatever it is, it's the ability to read people, right? We need to learn to focus deeply on others, to understand their motivation and how we should work and react to them. You know the feeling, right? When you get a new job, you're a new guy or a new girl in the office. You might know your boss. You might know a couple of people in the organization that might have interviewed you, but they've interviewed you, but you really don't know them, right? And so, those first few weeks, you got your social intelligence antennas up. You're trying to feel for, the people that you're going to be most comfortable with and establish a long-lasting bond and just series of things. So it's just knowing. And we've been doing it all our lives, right? In middle school, you kind of like, if the kids in your class were with you at elementary school, when you got to the 6th grade, then, you kind of knew. But if there's a lot of new kids, you kind of know how to maneuver. And that's basically what that's all about. Okay. Just how do we deal with people, right? We must look at their introverted traits or extroverted traits. There are two components really to consider, right? Chapter 4, page 146 to 166 in your book, for the discussion board, it talks a little bit about this. The two component is, basically you have what we call specific knowledge of human nature and general knowledge of human nature. Specific knowledge of human nature just talks about the ability to read people and get a feel for how they see the world.
Yeah. Going nuts. Yeah, dude.
Hold on, I got somebody that's coming through that needs to be muted. Hold on. All righty, let me see here. Okay, hold on. Well, it says everybody is pretty muted. Okay, hold on. Okay, the system says everybody's muted. Okay, somebody came in and we can hear them. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, so general knowledge of human nature. We can accumulate an understanding of overall patterns of human behavior, which includes the dark qualities that we often disregard. You'll read about different examples in the book, people and using that knowledge to work with them in the assigned reading for this week. Okay. The general knowledge, right? The 7 deadly habits. Okay. These are the negative qualities often disguised from view. They are often shown in some action that blindsides us and possibly harms us. So it is important to be aware and know how to read and apply some of these tactics to avoid them, right? Envy. First one is envy. It's our nature to constantly compare ourselves to others. Probably one of the things I like to do is I like to give kind of, good examples of some of these things that might have happened to me, and kind of just, put it out there. It gives us a little bit more. I remember back in, I think it was the mid 90s, I was working at Motorola, and I was managing the whole GUI interface for the new Cablecom, product that we were launching. Pretty significant job. So the whole look and feel and all of the technology that behind it. There was a company here in Orlando, Florida. So I was living in the company. I worked for Motorola, so we were headquarters in Schaumburg, Illinois. So I used to live in suburb outside of Chicago, and I used to fly down to Orlando often enough to meet with the company that kind of develop it and so forth. But anyways, I remember traveling to Europe for business. We're going to make a tour. We're going to Germany and a bunch of other countries. And I was going to hook up with one of our offices in the UK. And there was this guy. We were on the plane together, and we were flying to Brussels. And, just sitting there, having breakfast on the plane and just talking. And, I'm a pretty open kind of guy, but I won't do anything to cut my throat. So, so we were just having an open conversation. I was kind of candid about some things. And about 2 weeks later, or 2-3 weeks later, I got back to Schaumburg, Illinois. And somebody said to me, pulled me aside and says, "Hey, that guy you sat with?" And he was a young guy too. So, he said, "You said all this stuff about," and he just went on and on. Just about the whole conversation was relayed back to somebody that he interfaced with in Schaumburg back in the States. And my only response to that was, well, he's got nothing better to do than to regurgitate everything we talked about. I said, I have no issues with any of the things that was brought back in terms of, him leaking our conversation. We're two young men. Our conversation is our conversation. It doesn't have to come across the border. But what I recognized from that was this was a little, dumpy guy who looked at me and probably thought that, why does this guy have this job? He gets to fly all over Europe and all this kind of stuff. So there might have been some envy there, but listen, I don't worry about people like that. I mean, I'm sure if you look at where his career is at today and where mine's today in terms of what we've done, he's probably still in a similar job. So there's going to be envy, but you can't worry about that. You just got to worry about what you're trying to do and just move on, because it's our nature for people to compare. So that was, to me, that was a good example of envy. So you got to make sure your own behavior does not trigger that envy. And did I learn anything from that? Yeah, maybe even be a little bit more circumspect. Okay, so that to me is a good example of envy, right? The next one is conformism, right? Should you wait until you gain mastery to let your individuality shine through? It depends. It depends on the environment, right? One of the things that a good example of that is when I was in business school, we covered the gamut of careers, right? And one of the things that you will notice in some of my my marketing class or my advertising class or some of the more softer skills class, and even in some of the hardcore class, because they have to take certain requirements, right? Everybody got to take finance, everybody got to take accounting, right? Some of my friends, when it came time for interviewing, they're very flamboyant, but you can kind of see that even, they wear a lot of colors, got great personalities. And then when you get to know them, you find out, he did his summer internship at one of the big advertisement firms. Okay, that it fits there. So the colored hair, the tattoos visible, and back then, not very many of us had tattoos, but I'm sure they do now. But it was different. So if you watch some of my friends who were going into advertising and had advertising careers lined up, they were very, very different. I know there was one guy, Reggie, just to share his first name, and Reggie was a different kind of cat, but he was all advertising. The minute you met him, big, huge personality. And so that's fine. But if you were going to work for McKinsey, you can't be Reggie, because McKinsey's button down, white shirt, and all that stuff is kind of going on with McKinsey, and so McKinsey, you've got to conform. And then when you get to a point where you are a partner or managing director within McKinsey, then you could do whatever you want. But you got to be careful in displaying your difference while you are in the apprentice phase. And everybody coming out of business school that goes to McKinsey, you are in the apprentice phase, right? And you got to let your work speak for itself, right? So from the book, as you gain mastery, you'll have plenty of opportunity that individualism shine through, right? I had somebody tell me the reason why I didn't get a follow-up interview with McKinsey was because my clothing attire was more geared for investment banking. I was like, what do you mean? I had a pinstripe dark blue suit with a nice pinstripe shirt and a beautiful tie, right? Well, what's wrong with that? They said, yeah, hey, you look like you're going to go work for Goldman Sachs. Again, I didn't think so, but maybe McKinsey thought so. Rigidity, that's the way we've always done it. People who lack vision or set in their ways, it can be good in some situations, such as a doctor, but in more creative atmosphere, it can be an issue. Again, when you work in certain environments, as you can see today, given the pandemic situation that we're in, a lot of those doctors, who've been, there's epidemiologists and viral guys that do research and stuff like that, they don't move far away from their training. They're like, no, it's cookie cutter. It's got to be boom, 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 boom. And it's been like that forever. Why? Because if they're wrong, right? If they're wrong, lives are at stake. So so in medicine, that's why there's all this training in medicine. It's very rigid, right? And it has to be because there's consequences. Self-obsessiveness. It's not all about you, right? When it's time to ask for help from someone that exhibits this quality, appeal to their self-interest in some ways. This is really how you should interact with anyone, acknowledging their interest and how helping you can also benefit them. We see this a lot in athletics, right? Right. Everybody talks about the wide receivers are always the divas, and or the point guard. You know, they got the ball in their hands all the time, and sometimes maybe the quarterback. And you know, for whatever sport that you might be into, there's a little bit of that. You have this sort of self-obsessiveness, that you're the person that makes it go. So we see that in sports a lot. Okay, laziness. We all have the tendency to want to take the quickest, easiest path to our goals. But how do you manage this, right? We live in a time of instant gratification, but in the media and the entertainment industry, we must have a competitive advantage. If doing work with or for a superior in your journey, your hard work might end up being credited to them. This will happen sometimes in apprenticeship stage, and it's kind of expected too that you got to sit and wait your turn, right? So, however, on your journey, you want to weigh the pros and the cons to collaborate and for the collaboration with colleagues on your journey. Don't let credit be taken from you for your hard work, but those on the journey, the hard work by those on the journey with you, right? So if you're a bunch of, let's say people that just came in and you're there together, you got a similar job, you're just one of the analysts. Well, you don't want another analyst taking your work and making themselves look good, right? But you'll trust me, your boss will, right? Your boss will present, particularly if you're a rising star, okay? That has happened to me a number of times early in my career, where my boss would come down and I was fairly senior level, young executive, and my boss was senior vice president. And many times when we went to the management committee, which is the CEO and all the presidents of the various divisions and the executive team, he was like, I got it. I didn't always agree, but hey, that's what he wanted to do. I had to just kind of just swallow hard, okay? But it does happen. Flightedness, is that what that is right there? Hold on a second. Woo! Flightiness. The screen is being blocked by some of the Zoom stuff. Maybe I can move that up a little bit. No, I can't. Okay. Why is it important to focus on other actions and not their words? Do what you do. Do you do what you say you will, right? Don't promise more than you can deliver. Go above and beyond what is expected. People around you change their mind on the hour, right? It's best to cultivate both distance and a degree of detachment from others' shifting emotions so that you can not get caught up in their flightiness, right? Be prepared for the change of heart. That way, if they help, great, you're happy, but you're not disappointed if they don't come through. We all know people like this. We probably see them, they're at work, and we probably have more experience with them in school, where it's like, okay, we're in a team, and so-and-so's got this responsibility, and, you got to depend on them to do their part. And there's some people we kind of like, you got to be prompt on them. Hey, how you doing? You all right? You need any help? So sometimes they'll leave you holding the bag, right? So you've got to be careful with that, right? Make sure you got your bases covered, right? All right, passive aggression. The root cause of all passive aggression is the human fear of direct confrontation. Some people would rather, hit you with the subtle jab instead of being straightforward with you. Some example could be that they are always late, avoiding you, procrastination, or sabotaging your work. Okay, so you got to kind of keep your eyes open, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the assignments. Obviously, you know, the assignment starts with the discussion board this week. Today's Wednesday, so tonight by midnight, 11:59, your discussion, your initial post is due. Many of you I know have already done that. Then you're going to have a journal entry number 2. So many of you did a super job. I know for my class with the Adobe Sparks. It looks like many of you are much more comfortable with that vis-a-vis what we used before. And then the brainstorming worksheet, right? The assignment goal: complete this week's reading assignment. Also watch the video presentation, Do What You Love by Tom Kelly. What do you love, and what do you do? What do you feel is your life task calling? Provide an example of something you worked on that was a step on your mastery journey towards your life task. Share a positive and a negative example of what you learned from that experience. Describe 2 positive and 2 negative things you learned from the strategies for acquiring social intelligence scenario in chapter 4, as I mentioned, 146, that relates to how you should communicate your expertise as you develop mastery in your field. Cite those concepts from the textbook and explain why you chose those 2. One of the things that's interesting, I wanted to tell you about Do What You Love. It is so important. I'm gonna give you an example of that. One of my sons is played football at the University of Arkansas and in the SEC, and he didn't get drafted, and you know, but he kind of knew that. He knew he'd probably sign as an undrafted free agent, or he might have to take a detour and do something else. The reason why I want to bring this up, because it goes back to what Tom Kelly says: do what you love. One of the things that's interesting about, he so much wants to play football, at least have an opportunity to go to camp with an NFL team, that he's doing everything in his power to make that come through. I remember during the Super Bowl, before the Super Bowl, he was talking to one of his teammates who plays for the San Francisco 49ers. And he was relating to me the conversation, and he says, you know, the guy said to him, he says, Mike, a lot of guys who played with us at Arkansas, because they didn't get drafted or whatever, you know, they've kind of given up on football. He said, I hope you're not giving up. He said, I thought we loved this game. And my son said, yeah. He said, I haven't given up. And so he says, you could play at this level. He said, I played next to you at Arkansas. And he said, you know, we had an injury here at San Francisco during training camp. And a guy went down with a torn ACL, and I'm now the starter for the San Francisco 49ers. He says, so opportunities will present itself. And but the thing that ties into doing what you love, I watch my son get up every morning, and he's at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. I've watched him change his diet, and he doesn't eat certain things because he said he doesn't want to add fat. He's running, he's training. And during the lockdown with the coronavirus thing, I watched how he would put on, you know, my weighted vest, and he would get some mats, you know, some yoga mats, and he'd have it in the driveway, and whatever little free weights we have. And then he's got this big old Army backpack, and he would put a bunch of stuff in it, and whatever it weighs, 20, 30 pounds. And he'd be out there just working out. I mean, that is what we call, that's dedication. That's somebody who's got his eyes on the prize. He knows what he wants. He loves this thing. And he's like, when that opportunity presents itself, I want to be ready. Once that door opens, I'm going to keep it open. And that's really what it takes to be successful. I thought I'd share that with you because it was really about, you do what you love. And I can imagine the day that he gets a call from his agent, hey, pack your bags. XYZ team, the Raiders or whatever, the Giants or whatever, or the Dallas Cowboys want to bring you to camp. That will be the day he says, now I get to show them. So when you get a chance to do something that you love, wild horses couldn't drag you away. Okay? All right. So you will complete the reading assignment, and you'll go ahead and do that if you haven't done so already. Do by tonight, initial post, 2 or 4 paragraph, right? And also responding back to one of your classmates, which is due Sunday night. Okay, on the assignment, right, the brainstorming and the research worksheet. The assignment goal, you will conduct an in-depth review of the course concepts regarding your personal calling and social intelligence. You'll brainstorm project specs, research critical elements, and develop a framework that will be the foundation of your mastery timeline. That will be completed in week 4 of the course. So for this week's project, you will brainstorm, research, and outline the following, right? So you'll reflect upon your course of study at Full Sail University and complete the Mastery Journey Framework worksheet. The templates on the platform include 3 topics: 3 trends that could shape your industry of choice, 3 current companies in your mastery field, 3 current leaders in your mastery field, okay? 3 technical requirements for your field, right? And 3 possible paths of training education to gain entrance into your industry, right? So review career resources in your industry by using your program resource guide, or career information website like, getinmedia.com, and share 3 key insights about positions in your field, okay? You will use your networking skills to identify 3 possible mentors, and 3 possible internship apprentices. Include names and contact information identified via LexisNexis, Academic, LinkedIn, or other sources. And I'm sure you can do that. LinkedIn is a great resource for this as well. And also company's website, right? Evaluate the Full Sail online course catalog and reflect upon how each course in your degree program will tangibly enhance your mastery journey, right? Outline, don't forget, sometimes I see the students, they'll do a super job, and then they'll get down to the bottom end where it says the SWOT, to do the SWOT analysis, they will leave it blank, right? So outline a personal SWOT, right? So of your current readiness in your chosen field. So look at it, say, okay, what are my strengths today, right? What are the areas I need to develop, right? What are some of the opportunities that I might bring to the table? That may be an opportunity. And what are some of the threats, okay? And so opportunity could be, let's say you're in an industry that historically wasn't data-driven, but you see a need, and let's say you're a data person, right? That, and so you say, well, yeah, I could bring this to the table, right? I'm an internet marketing person. A great opportunity for me would be to bring the data analytics skills that I might have, right? Just an example. Cite all research sources in text and on reference page, okay? You're also going to, last week you used the Adobe Spark to create a mastery journal. You will add to that this week a personal learning network, and you will continue to go through and just fill that out. So this is the beginning of your personal branding, right? Keep in mind, your mastery journal is a running document and portfolio of your work for your current and future instructors to review on a continual basis. So throughout the month, post your work and explain it in depth with professionalism and inside reflection, okay? So just know that that's all for you, right? For this week's assignment, you will complete the following 3 elements, right? Well, it's not 3, it's kind of 2, right? But you will comprise your PLN, and this is really when you're going to do your LinkedIn, right? So you're going to establish your LinkedIn account, right? And you're going to, and many of you have already done that. I've already seen links from last week where you guys have established your LinkedIn page. You will, on the LinkedIn, choose 5 businesses, organization, or influential people in your industry to follow, right? Post a screenshot of your LinkedIn followers homepage to your mastery journal, okay? And share at least 1 inspirational image. A lot of students don't, for some reason they don't follow through with the inspirational image, quote, or video, right? Those are really good. It makes the connection in terms of, what are some of the things that are motivating you, okay? All right, so I'm gonna open it up now. Everybody don't talk at once. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to, how do I do this now? I want to unmute everybody. All right, hold on. I have to start video. Okay, here it is. All right, that was easy, but it only seems to be doing one at a time. Come on, why is it not doing that? Unmute all. All participants are unmuted. Okay, are you guys unmuted? I don't hear anybody.
Hello?
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to unmute everyone. There's a button at the bottom that says unmute. Okay. All right. Any questions? Looks like I might have to go through it. There's only 8 of us, so for some reason, unmute. For some reason, it's not doing it. I don't know why. Down at the bottom, it should just go ahead and unmute everybody. Unless you guys have triggered your own personal mute button. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free. Okay. All right. We got a question from Greg. To everyone, yes. Good morning. Okay. It looks like that was the rolling commentary. Okay. I'm gonna close that. Since I'm unmuting everyone, you guys can go ahead and ask any questions. All participants are unmuted. Okay, everybody's unmuted. Okay. Hey, Kaylee.
Hi.
Do you have any questions, Kaylee?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Because if we don't have any questions, that should do it. Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times. Okay, well, listen, the week 3 Zoom training is hereby concluded. And I hope everybody has a very, very productive week and a good weekend. And looking forward, for those of you that may be in the business intelligence program, I will see you sometime during the journey. My first class is the month 4, so I will see you in month 4 if you're in my program. All the best for the rest of you in your other programs, and may you have a great 11 months ahead of you. All righty, that should do it. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You as well.